There's a drop top coupe, said you wanna drive it down real soon. I just wanna love you like I do, cause I never had someone like you. Ain't nobody got this love, got me cuffed. Ain't nobody pay, all I need is love. I just wanna run away with you.
Welcome everyone to Tea Time. First off, I just want to thank you guys for being here, whether you're listening on your way to work or school, sitting at home, or scrolling on your phone late at night, or just trying to figure out life like the rest of us. I'm glad that you are here and aboard. My name is Amira Ashley, and this is my business channel, so this will be my first podcast. So we're starting this journey together, and I hope that you guys enjoy it. And let's get it. So, honestly, I couldn't think of a better topic for our first episode than the one of nobody prepared me for adulthood. I wanted to do a topic on that because we don't really talk about adulthood for young people like us or anybody else is younger or older. I feel like this is a great topic that all of us can relate to. So I feel like, you know, that moment when you're officially considered as an adult, but nobody, hands you a guidebook, right? Sometimes I've always thought it would be so nice if we had a manual or a guidebook where we can, learn these things. I would love if we had that opportunity. But no one tells you how to balance responsibility or manage stress or figure out how finances or maintain relationships, friendships, or romance, chase your goals, or somehow still have your life together. So one day you're growing up and the next day you're expected to know what you're doing. But the truth is, I think a lot more people feel lost than they admit. We all have questions. We all make mistakes, and most of us are learning as we go. So today we're going to have a real conversation about adulthood. The things nobody warned us about, the lessons we've learned the hard way, and the moments that makes us realize we're not alone in this experience. So if you ever felt like everyone else got the instruction manual except you, I feel like this episode is just perfect for you and all of us who are on board. So let's go ahead and grab our coffees, our teas, our wines, or whatever that makes you feel comfy, and let's settle in and let's talk about it. Welcome to Tea Time. So this is definitely going to be my podcast for those who want to have gossip and give me some pointers of what type of topics you would like to hear. So let's go ahead and take a sip of our tea. All right. So the first topic we're going to talk about is bills. And I know a lot of people hate it. I definitely hate bills. I don't think nobody loves bills. I feel like one thing about bills that nobody talks about in adulthood is when you grow up, you hear your parents talk about paying bills all the time. And you don't really understand it until, what bills really mean, until those bills start showing up with your name on them. And I feel like that's true because I've also had moments like that where, when I was young, I used to think that bills were just so easy and, it's not that hard. I think parents are just overdoing it. No, I really know that when you become adult and you start realizing with them bills on your hands and you start seeing it for yourself, baby, there is nothing that parents lied about. I feel like, I wish I can go back and rewind the clock and just be adult again. A kid again. Because sometimes life be lifing where you just be wishing that you could be a kid again. I be seeing these kids and I be like, damn, you do not want to be an adult. I know that I regret saying that because I used to always say, I can't wait to be an adult. And people will always say, no, you don't. You're going to wish that you was a kid again. I was like, no, because I didn't have to take naps. I didn't have to do all that. I would definitely love to go back and be one of them kids where we had nap time and doing all that. It was so much simpler. We didn't have to worry about no responsibility. But when you're younger, it's easy to think that you'll just get a job and pay for stuff like, Bath Body Works or, I'm going to get a job and I'm going to pay this. But no, when you become an adult, you can't just pay anything and think that, responsibility doesn't come with it. Unless you're rich or you're well off, baby, you're going to have bills like everybody else. It's called being adult. We're adulting right now. And that's what I call it, adulting. Because nobody really explains how fast your paychecks disappear. Baby, I know we all done felt those when your check disappear because of rent, car payments, insurance, groceries, phone bills, internet, and subscriptions that you forgot that you signed up for. It just feels like every time that you're around, somebody wants a piece of your money, right? And you know what's crazy about it is that if you're having a great month or a terrible one, like let's say you're having a rainy day, or it's a sunny day, bills don't stop. Due dates just keep pushing, and it's going to keep coming regardless if you're having an off day. Life does not stop, or life doesn't stop lifing just because you're having an off day. No, that's not how it works. If it worked, I think a lot of us would have it a lot easier and simpler. But I think a lot of people can relate to that feeling because of, finally getting paid and being excited for about 5 minutes before you start calculating everything that has to come out of your account. Nobody prepares you for the stress of choosing between saving money, when you're having to save your money and paying off debt or handling unexpected expenses and still trying to enjoy your life. You start realizing that adulthood isn't just about making money. So that's one thing. It's about managing it. And that's true. And that's a skill many of us had to learn through the trials and the errors that we went through. It's like, when you go through the experience, you start realizing that. And then there are a lot of surprise expenses that comes out of nowhere. You could be planning a trip or going out with your friends to a club, and out of nowhere, your car needs repairs, or an appliance breaks, or a medical bill shows up, or something else happens that completely throws you off your budget. Don't you always hate when you budget and you have specifically things like plans and action and what you want to do? You want to go shopping or you want to do something that day with your friends, and it's a Friday or a Saturday, and you think you're about to go out and spend money, but bam, your car needs fixing or something else needs fixing. It always got to be something that life throws at you, and you just be like, damn, life, can I get a break? But that's when you realize being an adult means planning things that you can't even predict. Sometimes it's always good to be prepared even before your bills is paid for and stuff, because you want to make sure that when that phone bill or that internet bill or whatever bill that you pay, that you already have it in your bank account, so you won't have to worry about trying to figure out, okay, how am I pay this or this month. No, you want to separate the things that you need, so you will know what other money that don't need to be touched that you're saving, or what other money you need that's only for you to spend. That's when you realize being an adult just means planning for things that you can't even predict. It's not glamorous, and it's definitely not something most people talk about when we're growing up. What makes it even harder is that when you look around, everyone else seems like they have it all figured out. And that's true. I've seen times when I felt like, dang, their life just looks like it's so put together. That's not true. Some people life looks like it can be that way, but in my mind, I feel like the grass is not always greener. It looks like from over here that my neighbor could be, looks like he got the expensive car and he's living life well. But sometimes people can have the nicest cars, nicest shoes, suits, and still be struggling. And I never really thought about that until I started getting older. Especially, prime example, social media. Social media plays a big part of that, because it makes it look like people are constantly traveling, buying new things, and living stress-free lives. It looks like their life is just perfect because they're traveling. But meanwhile, many of us are sitting there wondering how we're supposed to make our money stretch into the next payday. But you know what? The truth is, there are more people who are dealing with the same struggle than we realize. Just because online it looks perfect, everything online is not always what it seems. Sometimes, you have to think about the other person on the other camera. They show you their their perfection, or their part of, implement that they want to show their audience, because they know it looks perfect, but that's not exactly how they live. Sometimes you have to understand that the internet is just a way to grasp the audience that you need, but sometimes when you have people that travel They can have a mask up and still be struggling at home with bills, and be going on a cruise that can be taking a lot out of their paycheck. So I think out of the biggest lessons adulthood teaches us is that financial responsibility isn't something you magically wake up just knowing. Most of us are learning as we go. You learn every day. You have to learn to take one day at a time, you guys. And that's what I'm learning. Because as we go, we always are going to make mistakes and learn how to adjust with the mistakes and trying to do a little bit better each month. That's how we do it, taking one day at a time. And if you're listening to this and you've never looked at your bank account after paying bills, or if you did, and then you all of a sudden just wonder where all your money went, trust me, you're not alone in that situation. I've had moments like that too. We all have. Because you have to think about it. When you just paid all your bills off, it feels good, yes. At least you got your bills paid, but then you have another part of you that just feel crappy because you don't have no money to really do what you wanted to do, and you thought, oh, I was going to go out with my friends, but, money's kind of tight right now. But at least you got a roof over your head. Your friends might clown you and say, oh, you act like you can't just come out, or you too good. No, because at the end of the day, them friends that act like they got it, they probably really struggling, baby. They struggling over there and picking on you and saying that, oh, you could come out with one night. It ain't gonna hurt you. Yes, it is. If my money tight, I'm staying at home. I don't have to spend money to have a good time. You want to drink? Come to my house. And that's what I would say, like, friend, you want to drink? Come to my house, money kind of tight. I got a bottle here, and we could just watch TV, drink, whatever. If you want to dance, I got a speaker. We could dance in the house. I understand that, sometimes people want to get out the house, but sometimes budgeting your money is even better, so you won't be on the street either. And trying to do a little bit better each month is perfect. So I think listening to this and knowing your every move is perfect. And knowing that you're not alone in the situation, even if it feels like it. And that comes to my next topic as the stress part. Stressful is another topic because in adulthood, we're never prepared on how to deal with stress. Because when we growing up in school, we were taught subjects in school about, being told to study for tests. None of us like to study, of course. You might have people that love school, but I was one of the people who hated going to school. I'm be honest. Following rules and having to work hard, but there are very few people actually who teaches us how to handle the pressure that comes with being an adult. And when it comes to that, sometimes we don't know about pressure. It's a lot of pressure in adulthood, but we don't get taught that. Nobody sits down and explains what it's like to carry the weight of responsibilities, deadlines, bills, relationships, family expectations, work demands, and personal goals all at the same time. One day you wake up and realize that you're responsible for, you're responsible for solving your own problems because nobody's going to do it for you. Making your own decisions and dealing with the consequences that comes with them. That's part of life. The stress part is that there isn't a guidebook for any of it. Sadly, it's not. But there's and even though there's not even no chapter that tells you exactly what to do when you're feeling overwhelmed. But you know what? Even when you're falling behind, you always just have to get back up and keep pushing. Many of us spend years thinking adulthood means having all the answers, and only to discover that most adults are figuring things out as they go. It doesn't matter about the age. You're going to always end up making mistakes, but it's okay. We don't have the answers to everything. We have to learn how to take that pride and that ego out and just admit when we're wrong. The truth is that learning how to manage it is just important as responsibility that you'll ever have. Because sometimes stress means asking for help. Even if you have too much pride to ask, trust me, I get it. Because I've had moments where I didn't even feel good about asking anybody, not even my parents. I could say that, sometimes it could feel shameful because you feel like, dang, I really don't want to ask this person. I don't want to even ask a friend because sometimes you don't know how people will react. Sometimes you got people that act funny because they feel like when you ask them for something, they want to take it like, oh, well, Are you going to pay me back, or acting like you never did nothing for them? And be so quick to forget that you were there during their time, but they can't even be there during your downfall. So sometimes you just have to understand that it's nothing wrong for asking for help or taking a break, setting boundaries, or accepting that you can't control everything. It's okay not to control everything, because adulthood teaches you that strength isn't about carrying every strength. You do not have to be strong in every situation. It's okay to break down sometimes. You're human. It isn't about knowing when to slow down or adjust. It's not. And give yourself the grace to keep moving forward. That's all you have to do. Just give yourself some grace. I haven't, I'm not gonna lie. I've had moments where I didn't even give myself grace. I was beating myself up and sitting down and feeling like, just because oh yeah, I graduated, but that doesn't mean that, I'm at some part of my life. I want to be a journalist, and right now I'm having a hard time finding a job with that field, but I was beating myself down instead of giving myself grace, because you have to understand, it's not my fault. It's the job marketing that's giving everybody a hard time. Just because you have a high education, they don't want to pay you for it. And it's part of life, but you know what? You get through it and you keep pushing. If there's one thing I've learned through it all, is that nobody has a perfect roadmap for an adulthood. We're all learning or adapting or making mistakes and doing the best that we can with what we know. And maybe that's the real life lesson here, people, that adulthood isn't about having everything figured out. It's about learning how to keep going even when you don't. Sometimes I know we have moments where we want to give up and we don't want to keep going, but giving up is not an option. It's not. You don't want to give up, you guys. You want to keep pushing and thriving. People want you to give up, but don't do that. You're important. We all are. And the last topic I want to talk about is responsibility. If there's one piece of advice I want to leave with you today before I close out, is that I want to give you advice about adulthood when it comes to not running away from responsibilities. Don't run away from responsibilities. Learn how to grow into it. Responsibilities can feel overwhelming, I get it, at first, because there's nobody really there to prepare you for how much life depends on the choices that you make every day. Life does depend on the choices that you make. That's true. But as kids, many of us were taught what to do, when to do it, and what would happen when we did it. And I get it. When we had our parents, it was such a simpler time when our parents told us all the things that we needed as a kid, because they were there to guide us through it. Technically, if you want to think about it, our parents was our guidebook at the time to teach us certain things. But then when you become an adulthood, it's different, because you don't have nobody that's standing over your shoulder, reminding you to pay your bills. That's something you got to remind yourself, baby, to save money, take care of your health, show up for work, or maintain your relationships. That's where responsibility has to come in on your part. What many people didn't prepare us for is that responsibility isn't a punishment. It's actually freedom. And a lot of people always want to mix up the two. There is no punishment for being responsible. It's teaching us the ground rules that we need to learn about responsibility, which gives us freedom. And what I mean by that is that the more responsible you become, the more control you have over your life. That's the freedom you get. Being responsible means keeping promises to yourself, handling problems on your own instead of avoiding them, and understanding that today's decisions can affect your future. And that's the truth. It means doing what needs to be that needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it. And I understand we have our lazy days. We have our lazy moments where you feel depressed and you feel like not giving up. Trust me, we have them get out of bed rainy days where you're just not feeling it. I get it. But one of the hardest lessons that I want y'all to understand as adulthood, that I want you to take away, is that realizing that life doesn't always slow down, and it's not going to wait for us to catch up either. Challenges are going to come, regardless if we want them. Sadly to say, but that's part of life. Challenges and trials are going to keep coming whether we like it or not. And mistakes are going to happen. You're not perfect. We're human. As humans, we're going to make mistakes. We make mistakes every day. But you just have to learn from it and move on. Don't beat yourself up just because you made a horrible decision. Yeah, you might feel like shit for that time, but guess what? It's called learning a lesson and moving on, giving yourself some grace and understand that the mistake that you made, yes, it was stupid, but guess what? You learned from it, and now it's time to move on from it and know that the next situation that you have won't get you in that same choice that you made the last time, because you know better. That's all you have to do. And there will be moments when you feel completely unprepared. None of us are really prepared. But you know what? Responsibility teaches us resilience. It teaches you how to adapt, how to learn from failures, and how to keep moving forward, even when things get difficult. The truth is, nobody hands you a manual for adulthood. Most of us make mistakes and figure things out one day at a time. All you got to do is take one day at a time, you guys. Don't be afraid if you don't have all the answers right now. Focus on taking ownership of your life, making the best decisions you can, and learning from every experiences along the way. Because you know why? At the end of the day, adulthood isn't about being perfect. It's about being accountable, continuing to grow, and becoming someone you can be proud of. So I just want to say that's the end of our podcast today of Tea Time. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I hope that you like this video. This is my first episode, like I said in the beginning, and give me some pointers of what other topics that you would like to see me go and address over, because I don't have no hesitations on what you want to listen to next. If you have any questions, you can put it down in the comments down below. But I am looking forward to working on the next episode, you guys, and excited. So thank you again. And this is the end of the podcast, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And I hope that you apply also these things. And if you have any other topics or advice that you would like to give, or if you want to hear me give you any other point of viewers, let me know. I will not, it's my first time, and I'm a first time YouTuber, and I feel excited about starting my journey as a YouTube and love podcasting. So yeah, for those who are new just like me, let's support each other. Don't down each other, support each other. Let's lift each other up and just, help each other along the way. But all right, you guys, thank you so much for being here. And that's the end of the podcast. Peace out.
There's a drop top coupe, said you wanna drive it down real soon. I just wanna love you like I do, cause I never had someone like you. Ain't nobody got this love, got me covered.